easily one of the most popular places you could live in the entire Kansas City area, and in this video we're breaking down the top 6 neighborhoods in Overland Park, Kansas. I'm going to show you 2 neighborhoods in each part of the city. So 2 in North, 2 in Central, 2 in South Overland Park, and stick around until the end because as we go down the list you're going to see a big change in the types of homes, the prices, how new these homes are, and of course the location of Overland Park. Before we get started with part number 1, quick disclaimer, this is entirely subjective. We're not going in any particular order, and the reason I chose these neighborhoods is because I get questions about them. They consistently show up in the ratings. These homes are selling very quickly in these areas. And finally, I think they showcase the major differences between different parts of Overland Park very, very well. So the first one on the list is Knoll Hills. As you can see on the map, it's just south of Prairie Village. It is in North Overland Park, so north of 435. And the reason that Knoll Hills is so popular is because you've got quick access to all main roads. So you got 435, which cuts horizontally across Johnson County and southern Kansas City metro area. You've also got Metcalf nearby, which makes it really easy to get up and down Overland Park, but you're pretty much within about 10 to 15 minutes of most places that you would need to go in your day-to-day life. You've got quick access to the plaza as well. You've also got quick access to 135th Street in central Overland Park, which is really becoming one of the most popular areas throughout the city. It does feed into the Shawnee Mission School District, just like the rest of North Overland Park, which is north of that 435 highway you saw. Here's what the ratings look like according to niche.com. It's one of the top 4 in the entire county. And if you're looking for a home in this area of town, the prices generally will range anywhere from $300,000 all the way up to over $500,000. But these houses are selling very, very quick, getting multiple offers, selling over the asking price by a good bit of margin, as you'll see here in just a second. The big difference between the homes in Knoll Hills versus, let's say, just a couple minutes north in Prairie Village is that they're a little bit newer, a couple decades newer. So they were built in the 1960s. We're also starting to see in this part of town where they're building homes with 2-car garages instead of a sprawling ranch with just a single-car garage like you would see a couple minutes north. Here's an example of one of those. It went live at $475,000 and sold at a whopping $531,000 in February of 2024. 27,000 square feet. It's on 1/3 of an acre, built in 1959, and it looks really good throughout. The second type of home that you'll see in this area of town, and really this part of Johnson County, is a split level just like this one. It went live at $335 and sold $50,000 over the asking price at $385,000 this March. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 1,700 square feet, and it's sitting on about a 10,000 square foot lot. Now that's just the first one on this list. After this next one, which is also in North Overland Park, you're going to notice a major difference as we keep moving farther and farther south, both the newness of the homes, how big a lot of these homes are, and the parts of town surrounding them. But if we haven't met yet, and this is your first time seeing these videos, then welcome to the channel. My name is Massa. I'm a local real estate agent licensed in Kansas and Missouri. As you can see, the housing market is very competitive, especially in these spots and these neighborhoods that are very, very popular. That's why it's important if you're moving to Kansas City from another state, or you're local in Kansas City and just looking to find or build your next home. If you feel like we'd be a good fit, all my contact info is down below. We'd absolutely love to support you. Now we're going to move on to the second one in the list, which is Oak Park. Now if you've heard of the Oak Park shopping mall, it's one of the biggest malls in all of Kansas City. It's located just 10 minutes to the west of Knoll Hills, where we started out this video, and the subdivision of Oak Park is located just behind the shopping mall. So you're minutes away from pretty much everywhere you could ever possibly want to go. You've also got across I-35, you've got Costco right there. Sam's Club is directly across the street from Oak Park Mall, and you're located right in between the 3 main highways that you would use to get around the Kansas City area. So you've got even faster highway access than you would have if you were in Knoll Hills. Now another major difference is, as you can tell, this is a busier area of town. You've got a little bit more going on there, a little bit more hustle and bustle. This is very similar to some of the fast-paced lifestyle that we see around 135th Street in central Overland Park, which we'll talk about here in just a second. Now compared to Knoll Hills where we started, the home prices, the home styles are very, very similar, with the one major difference being that Oak Park was developed a whole decade later. Instead of the 1960s, it was developed around the 1970s. And since you've already seen a couple examples of those homes, I'm just going to show you one right here. It's a 1-story ranch that went live at $370,000. It sold over the asking price like the other ones in Knoll Hills. $400,000 in February of 2024. 3 bedrooms, you got 3 full bathrooms, almost 1,900 square feet, and it sits on about a quarter acre of land. Now that's all for North Overland Park. As we move into Central Overland Park, it means quite a bit changes. 1, we're south of 435. 2, the school district is different. The homes are a little bit newer. We see HOAs and some amenities depending on the neighborhood that we're discussing, and you'll see what I mean here in just a second. The homes get a little bit bigger, and so do the home prices. So number 3 on the list is Nottingham Forest. As you can see on the map, it's about 10 minutes south of Oak Park. It's very close to pretty much everything you would need to get to in Central Overland Park. You've got that quick highway access. College Boulevard is right there. You're right off 119th Street. And of course, 135th Street, which is the holy grail, the pinnacle of Overland Park. The Shields Overland Park Soccer Complex, Deanna Rose. You've got Prairie Fire down the street, Corbin Park, Deer Creek Woods. This is where everything is really going on in Central Overland Park. Now, if you were to look up Nottingham Forest on the map, you'll notice that there are quite a few different neighborhoods and subdivisions up and down Central Overland Park with that Nottingham name. The one that we're talking about is right off 119th and Schweitzer, and you'll see exactly why here in just a second. Now, one of the major differences, we're the Blue Valley School District. It's nationally ranked, and this is true for the rest of the neighborhoods that we'll discuss in this video. These homes are built in the 1980s instead of the 1970s like you saw in Oak Park, and Nottingham Forest specifically has an HOA. They've got amenities included in the neighborhood, and here's a shot at what the tennis courts, the pool, and the clubhouse all look like if you were to buy a home in Nottingham Forest. The typical prices in Nottingham Forest range from $500,000 all the way up to $800,000 plus, depending on which part of the neighborhood that you're in. What you'll notice is that the homes, most of them are above 4,000 square feet. You're on over a third of an acre of land in most situations. Almost all of the basements are finished. You've got some vaulted and cathedral ceilings, just like in this example. It's on a third of an acre, 4 beds, 3.5 baths, over 4,000 square feet, and it sold at $560,000 this January. I love the beams throughout. You've got the cathedral ceiling in the great room. Very, very hard to find anything like this nowadays. Moving on to number 4, it's one of the most asked about, most popular neighborhoods in Overland Park, which is Lionsgate. It's on the east side of 69 Highway. It's about 8 to 10 minutes away, tucked right behind 135th Street, which is that street where you've got everything going on. This is the hustle bustle area of Overland Park where most people typically want to land. You're at the edge of the city on the other side of Knoll. You've got Leawood, Kansas, and Lionsgate is one big subdivision that has many different neighborhoods within it. So it stretches all the way from 135th down to 151st Street. The prices can range depending on which part of the subdivision you're in. So for example, if you're on the Nicholas Golf Course, the prices can typically range from $1 million all the way up to $2 million plus. These are single family estates. They're maintenance provided, which means you've got a monthly fee that covers snow removal, lawn care during the spring, summer, and fall. And most of these homes were built in the early 2000s. Here's an example of what one of those homes looked like. It sold for $1.225 million in January of 2024. 4 beds, 4 full bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms, 4,500 square feet, has absolutely beautiful details throughout the home and backs up to the golf course. Now to show you another example, if you cross the street and you're no longer on the golf course, the home prices can range anywhere from $700,000 all the way up to over $1 million. These are no longer maintenance provided, and here's an example of what one of those looks like. It sold for $740,000 in January of 2024, 5 beds, 4.5 bathrooms, over 5,000 square feet, and on a massive 0.45 acre lot. Now that's all for Central Overland Park. These last 2 are located in South Overland Park, which I would classify as everything south of 159th Street. Most of these neighborhoods, and the 2 that I'm going to show you, are brand new construction. If they're not brand new construction, they were built in the last 5 to 10 years or so. Most of these neighborhoods are going to come with amenities such as a clubhouse. You've got the pool. Sometimes you've got a sports court. Oftentimes the new ones will have a pickleball court, and I'll show you some examples here in just a second. These are also in the Blue Valley School District. And we're going to start with number 5, which is Century Farms. As you can see on the map, Century Farms is west of the highway. It's about 15 minutes south of where we started in Central Overland Park, which was Nottingham Forest. And the reason that I'm showing you that next is because out of all the new home communities in South Overland Park, many of them fall along 179th Street, but Century Farms is a little bit farther north, which means you're closer to shops along 159th, which is Blue Hawk, the new development where they're constantly expanding, constantly adding new things. You've also got 151st and then 135th Street, which is really one of the most most hotspot areas of Overland Park. Now, Century Farms started development in 2019. They've just recently opened up a new phase, which has a little bit larger lots and several different ones to choose from. The prices start at the low 900s and go all the way up to over 1.5 million. Here's an example of one of the homes that is currently on the market. I love the architecture of it. You got 4 beds, 5 full bathrooms. It's over 4,000 square feet, listed at 1.227 million, sitting on over a third of an acre lot. Now, in most of these new home communities, you've got some of the best amenities. That's one of the things that most people are looking for, especially at this price point, this area of town, and just the feel of the community. So some of the amenities you're seeing on screen, you've got the pickleball courts, a basketball hoop, you've got a resort style pool, the community gardens, and a beautiful, beautiful clubhouse. Now, before we get to this final one, this video barely scratches the surface. These are just some of the most popular neighborhoods in each different part of Overland Park, but there are so many where that came from. So if you're thinking about buying or building a home in Overland Park, you're looking for that perfect neighborhood, whether you're relocating from another state or you're already local in Kansas City, if you think we'd be a good fit, then feel free to reach out. All of my contact information is linked down below, so give me a phone call, text message, email. We would absolutely love to support you. We're gonna move on to number 6, which is on the east side of South Overland Park. It's Southern Meadows. Now, as you can see on the map, Southern Meadows is about 14 minutes to the east of Century Farms. It is in Southeast Overland Park, very close to State Line, which is where a lot of the new home communities in Southeast Overland Park are. This happens to be one of the largest, and the reason I'm showing it to you is because this is the area of Overland Park that I expect to absolutely explode over the next decade or so. 1,200 home sites are planned in this new home community alone. The amenities are absolutely crazy, and I'll show you a rendering here in just a second. But because of all of that residential demand in the area, we'll likely see commercial and retail follow, just like we see up and down Overland Park, like the Blue Hawk Shopping Center at 159th Street. All of that will continue creeping farther and farther south, which means we could see something similar to what we're seeing along 135th Street make its way closer to all of these new home communities in South Overland Park. Now, one thing that makes Southern Meadows a little bit distinct from Century Farms and some of the other new home communities is the price point for building a new construction home in the Blue Valley School District can be upwards of $900,000. But in Southern Meadows, those prices will start in the 500s. And of course, you'll see some more expensive homes, but starting in the 500s is really solid. And I'll show you one example of those homes here in just a second. But first, here's a look at the amenities. This is absolutely crazy. You've got 4 junior competition lap lanes. You've got a huge resort style pool there. You've got 2 pickleball courts. You've got a tennis court along with a basketball court area. You've got a massive clubhouse. Something that's very unique is you've got some golf cart parking. You got trails throughout the community, frisbee golf area. They've hit the nail on the head with pretty much any different amenity that you would want inside of one of these new home communities. Just for context of what kind of homes you can expect in there, I'm going to show you 2 examples of 2-story homes, starting with this one. It's listed at $680,000. This is a model home, so a lot of the upgrades in there you're seeing are contributing to that higher price point compared to what you could really build this at in the area. 2,600 square feet. You got 4 beds, 3.5 bathrooms, and it's sitting on a 1/4 acre of land. Here's another example. This one at a higher price point, around $850,000, 6 beds, 5 full baths, 4,200 square feet, which typically means for a home this size, you got a full finished basement. It's sitting on, again, about a 1/4 acre of land. It has a lot of very nice finishes throughout. That's all for this video. If you have any questions, my contact information is down below. If you feel like we'd be a good fit, give me a call, text, email. Love to support you. Also, before you go, make sure to click right here to watch the video that YouTube thinks you would enjoy the most, or click right here to see a full playlist of videos about moving to Overland Park. So click either here or here, and I'll see you on the other side.